H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
Snap and clap and touch your toes.
Put your hands up now, body roll. H-O-T-T-O-G-O.
And welcome back, Corkies, to episode 40 of Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, here, as always, with my co-host,
Paul, as usual.
Paul, I think that's the most unhinged cold open we've had in a long time.
After some of the Cheryl ones, I don't think so. Those Cheryl ones were crazy, girl.
I guess so. This is the first one, though, in a while that has made me lose my composure halfway through.
Well, that's just because Chaperone is an icon. And honestly, at this point, if you're not into Chaperone...
Okay. The first
Chapel.
time...
I said it wrong?
I thought you said... Because it's so funny, because I just saw a TikTok where she was like, stop calling me Chappelle Roanne.
Yes, it's Chapel Roan.
She was like, it's Chapel Roan.
She's an icon. I love Chapel Roan. And honestly, if you're not into her at this point, grow the fuck up. Like, what are you doing?
Absolutely. I agree.
Get on the Chapel Roan fucking train. But... I have an announcement for our viewers, and this is going to come as quite of a shock to a lot of you guys. And this is coming from the very depths of my heart and my soul.
Okay.
And I just need everyone to know this before we can move forward with Crips and Corks podcast, LLC.com at large.
Wait, I thought we were a .gov.
Oh, yes. I forgot. The government picked us up, girl. We now accept SNAP benefits.
Oh, no. What's your announcement?
I'm now a fitness influencer.
Shut the fuck up.
I've been on my fitness game for a week now.
Oh, my
She's
God.
Skinny.
One episode with Mike and you're like, I'm a fitness expert. I'm a health and wellness guru.
I've been using that Mad Fit app, and honey, I'm getting fit. I mean, look. You can't get much more muscular than that.
Oh my God, you actually have something.
Who the fuck is she? I'm not a twink anymore, honey. Get into it. But I'm a fitness influencer now, and that's how my week has been. We're fitness influencers now. How about you, DJ?
Well, I too have an announcement.
Oh, wow, okay.
I am now wholeheartedly going into my loving orcas phase.
Oh my God, not the orca phase.
My orca ball cap. I love orcas so much.
Show the people. Can you get closer to show the people in the video? Because they have to see this orca hat. Because this is crazy. Because DJ has literally just started listening to this orca podcast this week.
Okay, so it started. So I found out I was listening to a normal paranormal podcast because that's what we do and we listen to them.
Yes.
And they were talking about the fact that orcas will wear salmon on their heads like hats. And one will start it and then an entire group will start it. So they have trends.
Yes.
And they do it for no other reason than it makes them happy. So basically, orcas have fashion.
Orcas have fat. That's crazy. But...
And then I was telling people this fact, and Spotify listens because out of nowhere, Spotify recommended an orca podcast to me, and I've been listening to it for a week straight. And
I just need to know the person that looks at the internet and you know what? And they're like, you know what the world needs? An orca podcast.
Well, it's two...
what are we doing?
It's two people who work for a whale watching company, and so their job is going out and visiting orcas every day.
Okay. Is their podcast just about the whales, or is it their lives too?
No, it's just about the whales.
See, that's crazy to me. That's I don't even know.
It's a little, they talk about how they came, the one guy worked in finance, the woman worked in the law field, and they both quit their jobs and moved to Washington State to become captains of whale watching boats.
That's crazy about them. That is so crazy about them.
I really want to figure out how I can do that too.
Well, follow your dreams, I guess. Follow your dreams.
So, guess what?
What?
It's my time.
Oh my gosh.
To do Hot Guy of the Month.
I am officially passing Hot Guy of the Month privileges on to DJ.
Even though we announced it during Uncorked, just to remind everyone, the Hot Guy of her Month in honor of the Olympic Games being held in Paris, the hot guy of the month is Tom Daley.
Oh my gosh, that's so hot.
Right, that's
Love
my
Tom
reaction to him.
Daley.
So, our fact about hot guy of the month, Tom Daley, is when he was just 15, he became a diving champion. 3 years later, he won a bronze medal for diving at the 2012 London Olympics. He also went on to win bronze at the 2016 Rio Olympics and became one of the biggest names in world diving. And I remember back in 2012, his first Olympics, and everyone fell in love with him.
Yeah, well, he has such a nice story, and it always amazes me, like, how people can do these things so young. Like, when I was 15, I was just in the little marching band, like, doing 9 to 5 band camp.
He just qualified for the 2024 Olympics, and I went...
Isn't he fucking old?
I was like... He did the past 3 Olympics, that's like 12 years, and I went... How is he still doing this? And then when you think, well, 15 plus 12 is only 27?
Yeah, so he's like 27 doing the
Is
Olympics?
he our age?
Girl, how old is Tom Daley?
He's 30. He's 30.
Okay.
So he's slightly older than us.
Just a little bit.
2 years
Just
older
a
than
tiny
us.
bit. But age ain't a thing, Tom. If you want to slide one in, I'll forgive you for being 30.
But he's just so nice. Like, I watch his TikToks, and he's just, like, so nice and sweet.
He's very wholesome. Their content is very wholesome. And honestly, his ab workout videos on YouTube do get me together.
Stunning.
Stunning. Not just, like, the way he looks, but they're good workouts.
Yeah.
Like, he has, like, actual good workout videos.
And I love how he explains, like, what it's doing as you're doing it. Like, this helps the sides. You want to, like, work the sides as much as you work the core.
Right. I mean, you have to be super fit to be an Olympian. So, like, he knows what he's talking about,
Oh,
girl.
honey, just look at him.
He's very fit. His husband is blessed.
His husband is blessed.
Gosh, that would be so nice. And here I am, stuck in bumfuck Pittsburgh. Fucking China.
I thought you liked Pittsburgh.
I do like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a lot better than where I grew up because there's a lot more things here than where I grew up. So I do like Pittsburgh. But the men here, honey,
No.
not given. Not given at all. But we're making do. We're making do.
On that note, are we going to drink?
Yeah, let's drink. So today we actually have a good old creepy cocktail. That's very on theme for today's story. So I'll hold it up for the camera. So we actually have, it's called a Galaxy cocktail. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there's glitter in it.
Yeah, it all sank to the bottom. I think we need a spoon.
Oh, okay. Well,
You want to grab the...
there's a spoon up there. So, basically, what is in a Galaxy cocktail that makes it look out of this world? So, what you need for a Galaxy cocktail is you need vodka. Any vodka will do. I do cheap vodka because I'm a cheap whore. Blue Ciroc to give it a good blue color. And then you put cranberry juice in it and a splash of lemon juice. And then, to really give it that good old Galaxy effect, edible glitter. And the edible glitter really does it. It makes it so pretty and just like gives it that galaxy feel. And this is such a pretty drink. If you're ever like trying to impress your friends, go on Amazon, get yourself some edible glitter because it is worth the purchase and it makes the drink that much prettier. So, why don't we give it a good old taste? You know, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really good. You can really taste like all the different flavors coming
Yeah.
together. It's definitely a strong one.
Yeah.
So
you can taste that it's cheap vodka.
Yeah.
Because going down, there's no taste of vodka, but there's that metallic-y taste that cheap vodka has, that aftertaste.
So, listen.
Maybe
Your friends will be able to tell if it's cheap vodka.
Maybe do Tito's.
Story.
It's okay. Do Tito's.
Yes, don't be cheap like me. If you're having friends over, you want to impress them, don't get the cheap vodka because you can taste the cheap vodka in this particular cocktail. And honey, if you're trying to impress your friends though, do this cocktail. It's so fucking pretty.
See, I don't mind like you, Dan, Dustin, Mike, and Riley coming over. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll get Tito's.
Yeah.
But like, if we're having a party, that's when I get the cheap vodka.
Oh yeah, because I'm not paying for people I don't care about to drink good stuff.
No, and you're gonna have to get like 2 or 3 bottles if that's all anyone's drinking.
Honestly, I don't even get the good stuff for myself because like I like the cheap shit. That's just what I'm doing with my life. It's just what the life I'm living.
God bless.
Yes, God bless. But thinking of the gods in the heavens and things of that nature.
Are we doing Mother Teresa?
Yes, exactly. Now, Mother Teresa's one spooky gal. No. So, the gods, the heavens. DJ, let me tell you a story. Everyone has an experience that they will remember for the rest of their life. Whether it is a happy experience, sad, uplifting, enlightening, or a combination of all these. These experiences are what shapes our lives and make us who we are as people. But what if this life-defining experience was publicized for all? What if the most traumatic, life-altering experience you had, everyone knew about and had an opinion about it? And what if this experience sparked a worldwide debate? Today, we will be discussing this exact situation as we discuss the alien abduction of Travis Walton, the alien abduction that inspired the classic movie Fire in the Sky.
Iconic that it's our first alien abduction episode. I've never seen
Exactly.
Fire in the Sky.
Neither have I.
Okay.
I probably should have watched it for the episode, but bitch, I listened to like 72 podcasts on this.
When you said classic movie, I was like, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Nope, this
Close
one-
Encounters of the Third Kind. And then you said Fire in the Sky, and I was like, what is this?
Nope, it's Fire in the Sky. And it's crazy how much like Travis Walton content is out there. There's like 72 podcasts, tons of articles. Like this is probably the most famous alien abduction story, like right behind Benny and Barney Hill, of course. But he's like, everyone knows about this because it was such like a national thing when it came out and it happened. Like people were reporting on this all over the world. Like everyone knows about Travis Walton and this story if you know anything about UFOs. But
Unless you're my grandparents.
or my mom or really anyone else. But
No, I'm just saying, like, I'll ask my grandparents. I was like, do you remember Watergate? We weren't alive for that.
I don't even know what Watergate is, honey. I'm sorry.
When Nixon had to resign.
That did happen. I don't know why. I guess it was because some water broke.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it.
Nixon's water broke and he had to resign.
We'll talk about it off the air.
Rest in peace, Nick. Wait, is he dead?
Richard Nixon is dead.
Okay, yeah. Rest in peace. Wait, I don't know his political views. Never mind. We're not getting canceled today. We'll see. So we're going to leave it at that. Moving forward to the topic at hand. Yes. Travis Walton. So, the incident that we are speaking about occurred on November 5th, 1975, when Travis was just 22 years old in the small town of Snowflake, Arizona. Now, a little thing about Snowflake. Snowflake was actually a small Mormon town, and it was so small. It's one of those small towns where everyone knows each other, right? Like, you have the same friends growing up that you live with. Everyone knows everyone's business. You tell Samantha something, Josie knows it like 2 days later. It's very much that everybody knows everyone and everyone is in everyone's business. That sort of small town, okay? So, during this time, Travis was actually a logger and a part of a 7-person crew that consisted of Travis Walton, of course, Ken Peterson, Alan Dallas, Steve Pierce, John Goulet, and Dwayne Smith. Now,
are those names important for... Do I have to remember who these
You don't have to remember these names.
God.
I was just saying the names so the people know the names. So we're like being factually accurate. We have the people, they know the names.
I just wanted to know, like, do I have to start getting a spreadsheet?
No. It's just because in 2024 we're saying people's names. We're calling bitches out in 2024. So I had to say their names. So, the crew was working on the Moyen Rim in the Sitgreaves National Forest. And there was a man named Mike Rogers was leading the crew. He was the boss and everything. And Mike and Travis were actually friends, and Travis had worked for Mike for about 10 years prior to this.
But he's only 22.
You know what? I read my own notes wrong. You're right.
Okay. I mean, this was what, back in the 70s?
See, this is why I have you here, so we can clock you.
This is back in the 70s, right?
Yes.
And this is somewhere rural. Like, I wouldn't put a past a 12-year-old going to work as a logger, but I was just like, what?
I meant to say they were friends for 10 years. See, this is why I have you, to keep me on track. Because, honey, I be reading my own notes wrong sometimes. It's a little spooky.
And they've probably been working together for about 7. Since Travis was like 18.
Yes, they said child labor. Wait,
no, wait, 4.
Well, actually, the youngest guy on the crew was 17 years old, so it wasn't uncommon to have someone underage working. But I imagine, like, back in the day, that kid who was 17 working on the crew, he probably, like, dropped out of college and was like, let me go ahead and start my good old career as a logger, you know? Logging was probably a good profession back in the day for the folks.
I mean, I know 1 or 2 things about handling some hard wood.
Oh, we know. I've seen that video, honey. Gosh. No. So, this day, during this time, Mike had several different contracts and he was behind, right? So he had the crew working from dusk till dawn, so they were working late. And on this particular evening, they had been working till about 7 o'clock. Now, keep in mind, 6 or 7 o'clock. Now, keep in mind, this is November, so daylight savings time, it's getting dark earlier.
Yes.
So it's like getting dark when they're leaving, right? So, they're leaving and they're driving out. And then all of a sudden, they see a light glimmering through the trees. And they're like, oh shit, what's this light glimmering through the trees? Now, one of them thought it was the moon at first, but then he realized that's not the moon. And then they were like, oh, maybe like a plane crashed or something. And then they quickly ruled that out. And then they were like, well, maybe it's like a hunter's campfire or something. But, so they decide to like drive on past it, see what's going on, right? Then they get to a clearing and they see it. A flying saucer floating about 15 to 20 feet over the ground. It's like has this gold light shimmering above it, right? Well, not above it, out of
front
it.
of it,
Yeah, there's a gold light shimmering out of it, and it's in an oval shape, right?
Okay.
Now, let me ask you, what would your first reaction be if you saw a flying saucer in the middle of the woods emitting this gold light and everything?
Get the fuck out of here before I get probed.
Exactly. That is what I would do too. But not Travis. Travis was the first one to bolt out of that car. He said, let me get the fuck out of this truck real quick. So Travis jumps out of the truck and runs towards the spaceship, right? So he runs towards the spaceship and he gets close enough to see it. And he starts to hear this low-pitched humming noise. And it kind of, from what he described it as, it sounds like a low pitch on top of a higher pitch. I guess kind of like a wow, wow. You know what kind of noise I'm trying to describe?
Yeah.
And then it gets louder, and the people in the truck can hear this noise also.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So he can hear this noise. God knows why he ran out of that fucking truck. Well, actually, I do know why he ran out of the truck, but that's a story for a later time. I'll tell you guys at the end of the episode why he ran out of the truck so quickly towards the spaceship. But he ran close to it, he's hearing the noise, and then the people in the truck start hearing the noise. And then the UFO changes color, right?
What color did it change to?
It changes from a golden to a blue light, right? And this startles Travis, and there's like a pile of woods, like, not woods, a pile of like logs, like close to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he does as any good logger would do and tries to hide behind the wood. Like,
Too late, honey boy.
exactly.
Too late, honey boy.
Because the UFO shoots out a light of, like, a beam of blue light, and it hits Travis in, like, his, like, head chest area. It knocks him back about 20 feet.
They shot him!
Exactly. They shot Travis. Rest in peace, my homeboy Travis. He's not dead, but...
Oh.
So, they shoot Travis. He falls back 20 feet, and...
20 feet?
Well, the article said 15 to 20 feet, and that was probably
shit.
what it seemed like, because that estimate is coming from the people who were in the truck, because the girls in the truck, not the girls, the guys in the truck, his homegirls in the truck drove off at that point. They left our homeboy Travis.
Well, I mean, I could see, like, if it hit him, like, sort of knocking him and, like, like he sort of scrapes along the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I can
like,
see that too.
Like
Yeah,
that.
very much like that. DJ did that for our video.
Or no, like up, off, and then landing and
very
dragging.
Very that. Either way, it hit him. He flew back, and then his coworkers abandoned him, which
Not
I would
gonna
be
lie.
pissed.
Not gonna lie. If somebody jumped out of the car to run towards an UFO and they got shot, I too would run away.
See, I mean, I see your point.
I probably would have run away when he got out of the truck.
I see your point, because homeboy, no one asked Travis to get out of that
Like,
truck.
Travis, like, if I was driving, Travis would have to tuck and roll to get out of that truck because I'd already have it, like, flooring it in reverse.
I know that's true about you. I know that's so true about you. But they leave Travis, and at first they think that the UFO might be following them, but then the light fades away, so they realize the UFO's not following them anymore. And so they pull over to the side of the road. The youngest one starts crying, right?
Yeah, he's a kid.
Right, exactly. He's like, what's going on? So the youngest one is crying. And then Mike's like, we got to go back for Travis, honey girl. We got to get back there. I can't believe we left him. Like, they have to go back and get Travis. So, they go back to get Travis, and he's not there. There's no trace of him. And so...
They shot him.
They get out of the truck, right? And they're searching around for them. They're staying in a group. And that's at that point, Mike starts crying too. They start freaking out. They're like, what are we going to do? Travis is gone. Which I would freak out too.
Yeah,
like,
my God.
Where'd my homeboy go? Where did homeboy go? The spaceship's gone. Homeboy's gone. What's going on? So they do the most logical thing at that point is they drive out of town and go to the local police station.
Right.
And report Travis missing. And, of course, their story sounds insane, right? You have these people come into you, like, and they're like, the aliens took him, he's gone, the aliens took Travis. And, of course, the police aren't going to take you seriously. Now, in a later interview, the head police chief that interviewed them when they first got there, he would say that they were all visibly shooken up, and if they were acting, they were damn good actors. And if you know anything about loggers, they're really not trained in acting. So he said if they were acting, they did a damn good job at acting, because, like, two of them were crying, they're, like, shooken up and stuff.
They're probably yelling and talking over one another.
Exactly. Like, they're obviously, like, shook the fuck up. So the police are like, okay, let's go search for Travis, right? And this ends up being, like, a huge search, like, because Travis ends up... Well, actually, I won't tell you how long Travis is gone yet. So, they go and search for Travis in the woods, right? They get dogs. It even gets to the point where they even bring helicopters into it, right? They got helicopters, they have dogs.
That's
no
expensive.
Sign of... Exactly. No sign of Travis at all, right? And, like... One side note, when they went to tell Travis's mother, the police went and told Travis's mom, and weirdly, Travis's mom was very stoic at that point when they told Travis's mom. She was basically, well, okay, I have 6 children. I have to go tell the other kids what's going on. Travis is gone. Like, I have to go tell them what's going on. Now, some people say this is just because she was kind of like a stoic mountain woman, and that type of person doesn't really show emotion that much. So they were probably expecting a bigger emotion from her, but there are a lot of critics who criticize Travis's mother for not reacting bigger when she first found out that Travis was missing.
Yes. It doesn't even seem like shocked.
Exactly. She's just like, okay, let me go tell the other kids. And she calls Dwayne, Dwayne is Travis's older brother, right? Mm-hmm. He lives a little bit away. And so Dwayne is like, okay, I'm going to be there lickety-split. And homegirl, he gets right in his car and drives right on down.
That's a good brother.
And yeah, he takes charge of the family, basically. He's like, starts directing what they're going to do. He says, we're going to do this, we're going to search here. And this is where stories start conflicting a little bit. Because I heard one story where Dwayne was convinced that the guys had murdered him. And Dwayne had went to where it happened and was looking in like the piles of logs that was there and brush. Because he was... See, basically what happened back in the day is once they cleared out the forest, they would leave it in piles. And then the Forest Service would come in and burn the piles. So he was convinced that they had killed Travis, put him in one of these piles, and then the Forestry Service was going to come in and burn it. So Dwayne was searching for these piles for his brother Travis, while he was missing. Mm-hmm. But there's another story where Dwayne wasn't concerned at all. See, one thing about Dwayne was before this, he had actually had a UFO experience himself, right?
What?
Yeah, like I think it was like a couple years prior, he had actually seen like, he described it as like a Tic Tac shaped object in the sky, and it followed him for a little bit. So,
and they do say that it's like familiar, like sightings, like it will happen like a family, and like just like either like parent to child will see it, or like siblings, cousins, like just one family will like see it.
Exactly. And I believe this version of the story more than the other version, and you'll see why as the story continues. But I definitely think I believe more that Dwayne didn't think that the folks, like the other 6 guys who were on the crew murdered him. You'll see why as our story continues. So, think about this. You're a policeman. These guys come to you, say aliens took the sky. What do you think actually is going to happen? You have your police brain on. Obviously, you're probably going to think something shady's going down, whether they killed this guy.
Sorry, you said think like a policeman, and I just thought about brutality.
Damn! Too real on the pod. Damn!
We might have to cut that out.
I just thought about brutality. Damn. That's true, though. That's what the dolls in the videos really are thinking.
Sorry.
No worries. That was a good one. I appreciated that one.
But no, if a group of people came to me and said, like, our friend was taken off by... Like, I could almost see, like, the police searching through those scrap piles looking for Travis's body because, like, they definitely murdered him. And
exactly.
They murdered him and they're trying to...
And like I said, this was a huge search. Like, They got the dogs, the helicopters, everything. So... While the time Travis is missing, they take all the men into the police station and put them under a polygraph test, right? Now, I don't know how y'all feel about polygraph tests, but I don't really think they're too tea because, like, what they measure, it's heart rate, and if you're nervous, all sorts of things.
Yeah, you can easily... They're flawed. There's a reason why they're not admissible in court.
Exactly. I don't fuck with polygraph tests, but they did put all 6 men under the polygraph tests. And some of the questions they asked them were, did you murder Travis Walton? Did you see what looked like a flying saucer? And did the flying saucer hit Travis with a beam of light? Now, they asked them more questions, but those were just some of the questions they asked the men during these polygraph tests.
Part of the matter.
Exactly. And interestingly enough, they all passed the polygraph tests, except for one who was inconclusive. Now, note, the guy who was inconclusive, he actually had run-ins with the law prior to this, so he was doing everything he could not to like fully participate in the polygraph test. So he was like distracting them and just being a nuisance. So that's probably why he is
trying to get out of the police station.
But all 5 of them passed the polygraph test and said they weren't lying. And this was a polygraph test put on by the police station. And they would also, like in the future, pass future polygraph tests. So I find it interesting that all of these guys passed the polygraph test. Whether you believe in them or not, I don't really believe in them. But
I mean, it does say it does say something that like they all did pass.
It does. I mean,
and only one person was inconclusive.
Yeah, it's one thing for one of them to go under the polygraph test and pass, but for 5 people, I think that says something there.
Well, let's get beyond the polygraph test. Like, did their testimonies all line up?
Yeah, they all told the same story, and like they have told the same story exactly like from each other, because they did separate them too.
Yeah.
I didn't put that because to save time. I didn't put that, but they did separate them at first when they first got there, and they were like, well, what they did was they put the youngest one under the polygraph test first because they were like, okay, we're gonna put the
weakest link.
Exactly. They said we're gonna save ourselves some time and we're gonna have this one crack, but of course he didn't because Travis was most likely abducted. And all of their stories lined up exactly, and they all still tell the same story to this day, and Travis still tells the same story, no inconsistencies to this day. I will say, I think where some of the inconsistencies on the internet come from is like that game of telephone, you know, like you hear the story from someone else and things get misconstrued. So I think when I come across like different versions of the story on the internet, it's just things getting misconstrued. And as we move forward through the story, you'll see how things also got misconstrued in the media, people saying different things, so things like that. But they all passed the polygraph test, and also during this time, probably about halfway through the point of Travis being missing, the news catches wind of this, and it becomes a huge story.
Like, how many days is this that the news...
I'd probably say like 3. That's what I guess at like 3 or 40. Because like think about it.
This is back in the end. This is back in the day where it wasn't so fast.
Right.
If this was today, Twitter would know about it 5 minutes before it happened.
Exactly. And when this story blew up, it blew up. It was like worldwide. Like there were news agencies from other countries calling this little podunk police station in Little Snowflake, Arizona, which is a small ass town. Because, like, and then...
Hello, Snowflake, Arizona. This is the BBC.
Exactly. Very that. And also, of course, all the UFO groups caught a hold of this because they're like, oh, shit, this guy's missing because he got abducted by...
MUFON!
What?
You've never heard of MUFON?
What's MUFON?
It's a big UFO, like, research group.
I mean, I'm definitely going to talk about other UFO groups in this story, but...
Not MUFON.
No, they're not a part of this story, unfortunately. Okay. Maybe in future alien abduction stories. But the point of the matter is, like, this story blows up while Travis is abducted. You know, everyone knows about it. This is the story on everyone's lips. Because it's a crazy story. Like, the police are involved. This guy's missing. They're saying these guys are passing the polygraph test.
And I'm sorry,
like, what's
what year
going
is
on?
this?
1975.
Okay.
Let me double check. Let me scroll back. 1975. Yep, 1975. Yeah. I was right.
That's what I thought you said, but I was just like,
Period.
And also, this is like kind of after that whole heyday of abductions, because like the 50s, the 60s, that was like where you heard so much about flying saucers.
Yeah. This was after the Barney and Betty Hill incident as well. So like this was happening, and there were also like UFO stories coming out on the media. So this is on the forefront of people's mind at this point in time because people are coming out and talking about this shit now. So, 5 days later, Travis returned. Travis would call Grant Nash. Wait, why are you looking at me like that? What's your question? What's the tea?
Why is he not calling his brother, his mother, his friend Mike, who just watched him get zapped by a laser?
Well, Grant Nash is his brother-in-law, so he's married to his sister.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly why he called that. Maybe like he was so flustered when he got returned.
That was the only number he knew.
Something like that. And he told Nash that he was in a telephone booth and needed help bad. So then Nash contacted Dwayne and told Dwayne to go pick up Travis, right? Because he was closer to Travis and Travis was in bad shape apparently, all that stuff. So Dwayne gets to where Travis is in this telephone booth, right?
Mm-hmm. And the telephone booth is where?
You know, that's a good question. I forget.
Was it near Snowflake, Arizona?
It was a little bit of ways, I think. I think it was like a half hour, 45 minutes from there.
Okay.
But, so, when he sees Travis, Travis is in bad shape. He's lost weight. He has 5 days worth of beard growth. He looks scared. He's frazzled. And then Dwayne goes to get Travis out of the telephone booth. And Travis just like collapses into Dwayne's arms, right? And he just starts weeping. Like, because obviously, like, something happened to Travis. Yeah. He's like gone for 5 days. Homeboy's in bad shape. So, Dwayne told Travis how worried his mother was. Apparently, she was more worried behind the scenes than she was, like, to the people. And then Travis was confused because he thought he was taken the same night. He thought it was still the same night, right? And then Dwayne lets Travis know that it was actually 5 days later.
Ooh.
So Travis had lost a lot of time, right? He thought it was just, like, the same night. He was like, oh, shit, okay. So, before Travis was returned, Dwayne was actually in contact with the Ground Saucer Watch, or the GSW. And they said they had a doctor for Travis when he returned who would help Travis, like, specialized in this sort of thing. And so, he drove Travis to Phoenix, Arizona, where he met Dr. Les Stort, who worked with the GSW. Sorry, I thought you had a question. I was ready for it.
I think has anyone called the police?
No. No, they're avoiding the police right now. They're not ready for the police.
Oh, okay.
They're not ready for the police yet.
Okay.
Actually, so interestingly enough that you bring this up, so Travis used a payphone, right?
Right.
So back then there were operators on the phones.
Yeah.
And one of the operators had overheard this and had known about the story, and she was like, oh shit, Travis is back. And she let the police know.
Oh,
yes. And then
tea.
More tea. When Dwayne was on the way to get Travis, he was getting some gas, right? And the police stopped them and was like, so where are you going? What's happening? And he's like, oh, I'm just going home. Because they weren't ready for the police to know that Travis was back yet. So he lied to the police and he was like, oh, I'm just going home. Meanwhile, he's going to go get our good old boy Travis. So, the police don't know yet. They're driving him to Phoenix to meet up with this doctor who works with the Ground Saucer Watch. But, as you could probably guess, Stort ended up not being a real doctor. But
yes,
he was a hypnotherapist. But there are some stories that say he was a medic in the army. So I don't know if that qualifies you as being a doctor, but...
Was he a medic or was he like an orderly whose job was to carry dead bodies?
From what I heard, he was a medic. But he might have been an orderly. I don't know. But honestly, in my brain, it just doesn't compete. If my brother was missing, I'd take him to a real hospital, not some fucking UFO group.
Yeah. And it would be like, I would call the police. I'd say, like, I'm picking him up. We're going to this hospital. Meet us there.
Right, exactly. Especially, like, with the news frenzy.
Because here's the thing. Like, even with him, like, being like, oh, like, I've only been gone, like, a couple hours, but it's been 5 days. Mm-hmm. He's emaciated. He's obviously traumatized.
Right.
What if he was just kidnapped and held against his will?
Exactly. But instead, you're going to trust this random UFO group when... They're going to bring in God knows who.
Dwayne, bring him to our special UFO doctor.
Right.
Wait, what's the doctor's name?
It was Les Stort.
I'm Dr. Stort. My first name is Doctor.
I typed up this degree on the Word document.
I got my degree from the Snowflake Medical Training School.
That I founded myself.
It's a certificate. I never took the MCAT. Sorry, I'm done.
It's fine. So, and obviously, so when they found out like he wasn't a real doctor, he was actually a hypnotherapist, they did the logical thing and they were like, girl, we're not doing this shit. And they drove back to good old Snowflake, right? But they did end up giving the doctor a pee sample. Well, doctor, he's not a real doctor. They gave him a pee sample from Travis, right? And according to the doctor, they did a test and Travis tested negative for drugs and alcohol. Now, they did note there was a mark on the inside of Travis's elbow that was consistent with a healing, like, you know how you, like, get an injection?
Yeah, like an IV.
Yeah. So he did note that there was, like, that mark on Travis's elbow, but also, this is also consistent with him being a logger, and they get, like, bumps and scrapes and stabs and things just working being a logger. So, who knows what that could be.
But was it,
from.
like, right in the elbow? Like, the inside of the elbow?
Yeah, they specifically said it was on the inside of the elbow. So,
that's a little consistent with an IV.
Another thing that the doctor did say is that he didn't witness himself, like Travis himself, pee in the jar. They just gave him that jar of piss and said this was Travis's. So maybe Dwayne pissed in the jar for him. That could have happened, but also...
I want to know what this test was. Was it tested in an actual lab?
Exactly.
Was it Dr. Stort?
That's what I'm saying.
Like doing his own test? Was it Dr. Stort going... Nope, no drugs.
He drank the piss and he was like, nope, doesn't taste like crack.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was the test? I want to know.
And the funniest part about this is the doctor, like the GSW asked when Travis was returned, they said, we want Travis's first voided sample. Worded like that, which is the funniest way to say it. We want Travis's first voided sample.
What's a voided sample?
Like his piss.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, I was listening to the last podcast on the left when I was doing research, and they're the one who used that term. And I thought that was so funny, because at first I thought they were talking about, like, jerking off. They were talking about a sperm sample. But
see, you said voided, and I was like, they want his shit?
No, apparently it's just piss. But it's anyone's guess, really, what happened there. Then, APRO. The Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, otherwise known as APRO, contacted Travis's family when they were back in Snowflake and said they had had contacts, they could get Travis a real doctor, they could get him connected, and they were also in contact with the National Enquirer. And if you know anything about the National Enquirer, girl...
Yes, and also... I do know that there's a lot of infighting between different UFO groups.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that this UFO group is calling out the other one for their fake doctor, I don't trust our foe's doctor any more than I trust Dr. Stort. I want to know why Travis isn't being taken to a real hospital.
See, that's what I'm saying. What are we doing?
If you get abducted and I find you 5 years later... or 5 days later, I'm taking you to the hospital.
Exactly.
And I'm calling the cops to meet there, and I expect one of the cops to watch you piss in that cup.
Exactly. But they're going the UFO route, girl. APRO's taken over, they got all the connections, Travis's family are convinced, and they officially jump ship from the GSW to APRO.
Oh.
And back to the National Enquirer thing.
How much money did they offer Travis?
I don't know.
Okay.
But, well, they did offer Travis to pay for, like, the medical stuff and the examinations and stuff. So they were going to pay for
ARPA or National Enquirer?
APRO.
Okay.
Is paying for Travis's...
Sorry, APRO. I keep saying ARPA.
It's fine. APRO are paying for Travis's medical stuff, everything that they want to do with Travis. So the National Enquirer is famous for, like, having crazy stories.
Woman has baby with Bigfoot.
Exactly, very that.
Bat boy leaves mother's home.
So they see this story and has money in their eyes. They're ready for it.
Donald Trump is legitimate candidate for the president.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure, like, in 2020, the National Enquirer was, like, one of the only papers to endorse Donald Trump for president.
I wouldn't doubt it, girl. I wouldn't doubt it.
You know it's bad when the National Enquirer is the only endorsement you can get.
That's tea.
Could you imagine? Woman gives birth to baby with the Bigfoot. We endorse Donald Trump. Right next to each other.
That sounds like, honestly, it doesn't sound too far-fetched. That kind of sounds
it makes sense. It just makes sense.
It does. Honestly, that's what we're doing these days. But, so, APRO actually had a hypnotist of their own.
Oh, shit.
And they did hypnotize Travis. And Travis regained more memories from what happened to him while he was abducted. So, say it with me, kids. What happened to Travis while he was abducted? Let me tell you.
Okay.
So, the first part of Travis's journey when he was abducted after he was hit by the beam of light, he loses consciousness and he's going in and out of consciousness, right? He is basically like, he's going in and out of consciousness. He feels a lot of pain. He is like, all he can basically see are lights shining right in his face. And he feels like he's going to die. He recalls feeling like he's going to die at this point. And then he's like black for a little bit. And then he wakes up in a room and sees 3 beings around him. He's on a table. And he wakes up and he sees these 3 beings. And he describes these beings as being basically what you would describe a regular alien being, right? The big dark eyes, small mouth and nose, hairless. He said their bodies were like a marshmallowy white, which is kind of different. But
just the term a gray, like that very stereotypical.
Exactly. And he said they were hairless and everything. And Travis wakes up and sees this and freaks the fuck out, right? So he pulls himself off the table. He knocks into one of the beings and he recalls the being being lighter than he would expect because it kind of just like flew back really easily. Exactly. She was skinny.
I do want to say something about their appearance.
Yeah.
Are we sure he wasn't kidnapped into a gay sex club and on drugs and these were just 3 ugly twinks?
You know, been there, and it could have been. Honestly, could have been. But
I'm sorry. You're like, when you said like they were hairless and he was lighter than he looked, all I could think of was, is this an ugly twink?
Oh my god. Like an ugly twink, it could not be topped. So he knocks into it. It's very lighter and very light, knocks back really easily. And he's freaking out, going haywire, and he sees this test tube looking thing on the shelf. And he grabs it thinking he's gonna like break it into something sharp. God. Kind of how if you were in a bar fight, you would break a beer bottle into something sharp.
I would not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I would throw fists, but...
Either way, he tries to break it, and this thing doesn't break. But he starts swinging it at the aliens. And the alien holds up like their hands and they're like, stop, please. Because that's kind of like the universal thing when you hold up your hand like, please stop. But Travis doesn't stop. He doesn't calm down. So the aliens are like, ah, shit, this isn't good. And they like get out of there. So like they go out of the room and there's like 2 hallways, right? Mm-hmm. One hallway going to the left, one hallway going to the right. So the aliens go to the left.
Did they not close the door?
No.
Oh, fuck.
So they go to the left, and then Travis decides to like go to the right and try and find a way out and escape, right? So he's going down, and eventually he gets to a room, and he goes into the room, kind of like a big dome-shaped room, right? And he goes in, when he first walks into the room, he sees a chair, and there's like this panel with like buttons and a lever like by the chair. And the chair is facing away from him, so he's like expecting like there's probably something or someone like in this chair. So he says he doesn't care if there's like anyone in the chair, so he's going in the room to investigate. And the weirdest thing, when he walks into this room, as he's walking into the room, like, there's light shining, right? But as he's walking into the room, it gets darker, and then the sky and everything around him illuminates, and he could see, not illuminate, it gets dark, and it basically turns into the night sky as he walks into the room. So he walks in, turns into the night sky, and like walks back, and it gets lighter. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Like he's walking to a star map.
Yes, exactly. Very that. So he walks over to the chair. No one's in the chair. And he starts messing with the buttons because he can see on like some of the walls there's like cracks in the walls. So he thinks if he presses one of the buttons, maybe there might like open a door, like another door, so he can like get out of the ship or wherever he is. So he starts pressing a bunch of the buttons, and then he pulls the lever. And when he pulls the lever, the sky that's like on the walls and the ceiling and everything starts moving. And he's like, okay, whatever, like, that's cool. And then he turns around, and there's a being behind him.
Ooh.
And he describes this being as being exactly human-like. It looks exactly like a person would.
That's creepy.
He said it was definitely a male, about 6 foot tall, well-built, in a tight blue suit. And he said there were
and he's hot.
He was hot. He said there were no emblems or symbols on the suit or anything. It was just a blue suit, and the man had a helmet on, like a bubble helmet.
Oh, no.
And so the only thing that Travis said that separated him from a human was his big, bright gold eyes. He had golden eyes, right? Now, after hearing this description, there are some people who say this was probably a Nordic alien because there's people who know about different races of aliens. And I'll show you guys a picture of Nordic aliens later, but people are saying this was probably a Nordic alien. So, Travis is still being unhinged, and he starts yelling at this being, and he's like, what's going on here? What's going down? Where am I? And the being doesn't answer, and he just smiles at Travis.
I don't know who's more incompetent, the 3 big head aliens at the beginning, or Travis trying to escape.
Girl, I don't know.
Nobody is achieving nothing.
But Travis does recall that this being was oddly comforting to him, so maybe
they fell in love.
I don't think they fell in love, but he just said he felt more comfortable with him than the other beings.
They fell in Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh my god, not Stockholm Syndrome. Well, some people say Travis probably felt like more comfortable with this being because he was more human-like.
Yeah.
So, the being takes Travis by the arm and leads him out of the room, and they're moving out, and they go into what Travis describes as an air hangar because he sees other spaceships there, right? So, he takes Travis out into this air hangar, and he can see other spaceships. Now, one thing to note, that in the first room, Travis said it was very humid, and it was hot, and it was hard to breathe, okay?
Yes.
So the being takes Travis out of this place. They're going to the air hangar, and they eventually go into another room. And in that other room are people, like, more beings that look like the one he's with, the human-like being, but they don't have helmets on. So Travis is like, okay, maybe that being didn't hear me because he had the helmet on. So he starts screaming questions at these other beings. And, of course, the other beings do not answer him, right? They're not answering him, and this
Maybe they don't speak English.
Off. Maybe not, but they are smiling at him, so I don't know. And Travis does note this room as being cooler and a lot easier to breathe. So, the other beings take Travis on the arm, and he's like, I don't know why he's being so trusting of these beings. And they lay Travis down on a table, and he's like screaming questions at him. And one of them, who he says was a woman, so I imagine it looked more woman-like than the male ones, put what he thought was an oxygen mask over Travis's face. And Travis went to take it off, and then he just blacked out. So there was probably just like some gas in there that knocked Travis out.
Oh, I know.
So, after that, the next thing he remembers is waking up and seeing lights of the bottom of a spacecraft, and then it just shoots into the air, and he's on the ground. And that's the next thing he remembers is waking up, seeing the bottom of the spacecraft, and shooting in the air. And then that's when he finds the telephone booth, calls the good old Mr. Nash. Dwayne comes to pick him up. And that is what Travis remembers of his experience of being abducted by aliens. So, the National Enquirer and APRO drop this full story. And then begins the great debate.
Where are the police? Where are the police?
I guess they're involved at that point now, but either way, they drop this story, and thus begins the great debate of, was Travis Walton actually abducted by aliens? And everyone, as I said in my intro, has an opinion. So,
I don't know. Tell me all the sides so I can try and form an opinion.
Let's see. Let's get into this. So, debunkers have been trying to debunk this story since it happened. The most prominent of whom is an asshole named Philip Klass. And Philip Klass has been an asshole ever since he started. Because he...
Well, with a name like that, that's an asshole name.
Mm-hmm.
If you're still alive, Philip, I didn't say that.
He's dead.
Oh,
Don't
thank
worry,
God.
he's dead. He's spent most of his career trying to debunk UFOs and everything. He's the person who came up with UFOs are just ball lightning, and he just makes up these...
gas.
Exactly. I think he came up with that too.
Skeptics always like to say the believers are the small-minded ones because it's like you're so small-minded that you're gullible enough to believe it. It's like, no, you're the small-minded one because you refuse to believe. You refuse to, like, open up your mind to the possibility that there could be something out there.
Exactly. And, you know, before Philip was attacking Travis, he was attacking an American physicist whose name was James McDonald. And he researched aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what he was doing career. And he apparently had harassed him so bad. Now, I'm sure it was a combination of things that led to this. But the person he was harassing before Travis, James McDonald, actually ended up committing suicide. And I'm pretty sure...
Philip!
There was probably... We're not blaming Philip for all this. Because I'm sure there were other things that led to this. That we can talk about James McDonald's full story. But... James McDonald was out of the picture, so he moved on to Travis, because Travis was the next big UFO story. And one thing that Philip would do is when the data wouldn't go his way, he would attack the character of someone.
Oh.
He was one of
one of those.
Right. And of course, he had a lot to attack with Travis. He could be like, well... He's just this illiterate fuck down in Snowflake, Arizona. Which he's not the only one who made this argument. He was just like, Travis is a no one. He's an illiterate fuck. He doesn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. He actually made multiple articles, like coming at Travis's and the other men's characters. He misquoted them multiple times and took things out.
Skeptics do that.
So... what would they do? They brought back the polygraph test.
Oh, God, not again.
So what the men did is they would challenge class to a polygraph test where they would all go under the polygraph test again, right? And basically the terms of this is it would be a mutually agreed upon polygraph test administrator. So both parties had to agree on who would administer this test. And if the men passed the polygraph test, class would have to pay for it. But if they failed, they would pay for it.
Okay.
So there was really like no reason he shouldn't have like been okay with this polygraph test.
Klass or Walton?
Both.
Okay.
Like
Well,
Walton and them would go under the polygraph.
You said he, and I was like, being okay with it, like...
Yeah, class should have been okay with it, right? Because it's mutually agreed upon, like, he's not losing anything, he's only losing, like, money if they would all pass, and if he was so firm in his belief that they weren't, like, telling the truth, he should have been okay with that.
Right.
But, of course, class denied this, and he did not go forward with the polygraph test. And another theory that Philip Klass had brought up was that if you remember from the beginning of the story, they were behind on their contracts, right? And so one of class's theories is that they staged this whole UFO thing so Mike would avoid fees for going over on his contract. So it was a whole big scam so Mike didn't get...
That's a big scam. Like...
Exactly.
Like, I would sooner, like, fake one of my men getting injured on a job.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because, like, they're not going to let Mike out of his contract because, one of your guys got abducted.
Exactly.
They're like, no, you better clear this fucking forest with or without him. Like,
but
honestly,
if it's like, hey, like, I have 3 men who broke legs on the job. I can't do this with 2 guys and myself.
Right, exactly. And Mike even got written affidavits from the contracting officers at the Forest Service saying doing this would not benefit Mike and would actually hurt his business.
Yeah.
So these were the people he had the contract through, saying actually this would hurt him because, like we just said, they want their forest cleared, and we don't care who clears it or who got abducted, you know? Like,
yeah, and if... It'd probably be like, you didn't clear the forest for 5 days looking for your friend.
Exactly.
We hired another company.
Exactly. Now, to make this even more juicy about class, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would offer the youngest member of the group, Stephen Pierce, $10,000 to say this was a hoax.
That's a lot of money.
Especially back in the day.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
He's a young kid. He probably most likely doesn't... No, he didn't have money at that point. He was a logger.
Yeah.
And so $10,000 is a lot of money. And he was like... So, to make it even more juicy, so Stephen had changed his name because of all the media hype and moved to Texas, right? And Philip still found him. And he flew to Texas, took him to dinner, offered him this $10,000. He didn't take the money, of course. Because he was like, no, this is true. This is what happened to us. So I think it's crazy.
And here's the thing. If you were making this up for money or fame or whatever, you wouldn't run away and change your name.
Exactly. It's crazy. Phil Glass is crazy. He did everything to try and debunk these horrors. And when it wasn't going his way, he tried to offer them money to say it was a hoax. So... Another theory is that Mike and Travis, since they were good friends before this goes along with the contract theory that they faked this for the contract and that they found this thing in the back of one of their comic books and bought the flying saucer, like a fake flying saucer from the back of one of a comic book and like staged the whole thing in the forest.
No, because I don't think anyone else would believe something you bought out of the back of a comic book.
Exactly.
B, we just said it's not benefiting them. Like, they're losing the contract. They're not, like, getting extensions.
And I think this is fun. The funniest part about this theory is that they thought they got it out of the back of a comic book. I think that's funny. And that, like we said, like, where would these loggers even get access to, like, these lights that were supposed to, like, put on a professional light show that, like, had the beams of light and whatnot?
Yeah, because it would have to, like, to do it convincingly, what you would have to do is you'd have to use the lights to sort of blind everyone else.
Yeah.
To kind of manipulate what they were seeing.
Exactly. This kind of goes back to the illiterate fuck argument, where it's like, no, not trying to be mean, but they're just loggers in a podunk town.
Yeah.
They probably don't have access or the knowledge to be able to do something.
Or the money.
Exactly.
Or the time. Like, they're already behind and they're now taking time out of their...
Right. All the money they would have put into it, honestly, it would have been better just to take the fee on the late contract, probably. But another theory is that... So, before this, like I said, Dwayne had his own experiences with UFOs. And he would often talk to his mother, and like it was often like a family conversation about UFOs, the possibility of UFOs. And Dwayne and Travis actually had a deal that if one of them got abducted, that they would come for the other too, so they could both be abducted. Because Dwayne was really trying to be abducted, and
No.
they discussed, like, before this happened, they actually discussed that if they ever saw like a spaceship, that they would try and get as close to under it as possible to maximize the chance of being abducted.
No. Mm-mm. If you get abducted, sayonara, leave me be.
Right.
Leave me be.
That's what I'm saying, but they wanted to be abducted, girl. Dwayne was all about the UFOs before this. So, obviously, the skeptics are going to latch onto this and be like, well, they faked it to kind of, like, bring forth the theory, you know? Like, they were obsessed with UFOs beforehand. They wanted this to happen and be real, you know?
Yeah, but why would you fake it then? If you want it to be real, why fake it?
I don't know. But honestly, that makes sense why Travis, like, bolted out of the truck when he first saw the UFO.
Yes.
If he had this, like, deal with Dwayne beforehand to, like, get as close to it as possible. So that makes sense to me now.
Yes, but also, if he had this experience, why wouldn't he call Dwayne first?
I don't know. Wait, what do you mean?
Like, if Travis and Dwayne had this deal where it's like, oh, if one of us gets abducted, we'll come for the other one.
Yeah.
And he got abducted. He got abducted. I'm not taking sides yet.
Yeah.
And he, like, gets left.
Mm-hmm.
But he calls the brother-in-law, not Dwayne.
Well, that was when he was back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't it be like, Dwayne, like, I got abducted?
That's a good point. I never thought of that before. That's a good point. We'll save that.
Next theory.
Next theory. Okay. Now, it is also reported that Travis actually saw a program about aliens before the incident, and he took inspiration from this for his account of what happened to him. And this was titled The UFO Incident and actually told the story of Barney and Betty Hill. So,
I know the story of Barney and Betty Hill, and they sound different.
yeah, I don't know that story, honestly. I didn't look into Barney and Betty Hill's story, maybe another time. But people are saying that Travis had saw this beforehand. When he got hypnotized, he took inspiration from this story and kind of like made it his own. And that he wasn't actually abducted, and it was that being under hypnosis put things into his mind, because he didn't have like all the memories until he got hypnotized. And like, I don't know how I feel about hypnotizing people. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. Like,
yeah, you might have this theory later on, but when you're under hypnosis, couldn't that be suggested to him?
Yeah, because under hypnosis, it does create fake memories when you're under hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have been a thing that happened, but also at the same point, 6 other people witnessed this spaceship, and he was gone, bitch. Like, and honestly, the overarching, like, skeptic theory is that they were in on it. Travis was somewhere else during this 5-day period, and it was all a hoax. I don't know why all 6 of the men would be on it, what they would gain from it, because, like...
There's nothing to gain by it being a hoax.
Exactly. One of them changed their name. Like,
and
it was huge.
It ugs me out that they all, like, when Travis did get back, that they didn't call the police, they didn't go to a real doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like you said, there's nothing to gain.
There really isn't, honestly. Like, this kind of, like, ruined their reputation, because... Like in my intro, the rest of their lives, they're going to be known as the UFO people. And there's people who think UFO people are just insane.
Yeah.
That could prevent them from getting jobs, like prevent them from getting girlfriends. Like, it could prevent them from getting a lot of things. So even just like, yeah, they really had nothing to gain. Especially like when you think of this small town they're in. It's a small Mormon town where they're all God-fearing people. Like, there were reports of like, interviews of people in the town saying where, like, if my child told me that, I would, like, probably disown them or something, or shoot them right on the spot. Because, like, UFOs are not of God to those people, so, like, they really did have nothing to gain from doing this. And, yeah, that is all of my theories as of right now.
He was abducted.
I think he was abducted too. No, I think he was abducted too. Now, I do have some fun little facts. So, another interesting thing to add to Joanne's obsession, and well, really the whole family talking about UFOs before this happened. Apparently, their father was a UFO enthusiast, but their father left them when they were young. So, some people say they kept up this enthusiasm and interest in UFOs to kind of have a part of their father with them, since their father left them because he was a UFO enthusiast. Another interesting fact is that, well, my last interesting fact, which is kind of crazy, Penthouse actually has the most interesting article about this.
Oh my God.
It is so well written and the facts are so well there. I didn't know Penthouse had, like, Penthouse
Real
magazine.
journalism.
Right. Penthouse is out here doing the work, honey. And I didn't realize that. I was reading their article and I was like, oh shit. They were using fucking literary devices and shit in this article. I was like, girl, y'all need to get into Penthouse magazine's literary section and not just the pornographic section, because homegirl, there's something to be said about that.
Well, I mean, it's the same with Playboy. Like, they have the pornography in there, but they also have, like, some really well-written articles by some really influential writers, authors. I mean, Jimmy Carter wrote an article for Playboy at one point.
That's very true. That is very true. I didn't know that, but that is very true.
I did not know that, but it is true.
Well, so, before we do this episode's Smash or Pass, I have to show you a picture.
Just one.
Well, there's multiple pictures, but there is one picture.
Will you take the keypad off before you start, like, throwing the tablet all around?
I guess I should end this story.
Yes.
So that is the story of Travis Walton and his abduction, and the theories and skepticism that have faced him, the crew members, and their story. Let me show you a picture of Travis Walton real quick. If this... It's episode 40. Oh my gosh, we're on 40 episodes already.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh
in 12 episodes.
God, I can't
In 12 episodes, it will be our 1 year.
Okay. This is Travis Walton, a colorized version of the picture of what Travis looked like when he got abducted.
Oh.
That's a whole lot of man.
That...
He looks like a 70s porn star, and
yes,
honey,
yes.
I'm here for it.
He looks like one of the Village Men.
Travis was cute back in the day. He could get it. Honestly, Travis could get it. Smash or pass? I already know the answer.
Pass.
You're passing on Travis?
Passing. Wait, let me see again.
Wait, why are you passing? I'm smashing. Travis Walton, he could get it.
If you would shave the mustache.
Girl, you gotta get into these mustaches. That's what... You need to get into the mustaches. I don't know what you got up against these mustaches, but you need to get into it.
Yeah, if you would shave the mustache, like, I can see him being very attractive, but the mustache just makes him look like a 70s porn star.
And you know what?
And I know this was the 1970s, but that's not just a... It's not a vibe I would go for.
Good back in the day. I don't know, girl. I don't know.
He looks like the dad from Inside Out. No. And I know some people have this weird thing about the dad from Inside Out.
There is. I've seen those pictures.
I am not into it.
Girl.
I'm not into it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not yucking
it.
nobody's yum. I just would not do it.
Girl, I might. I don't know. Let me show you another picture.
Also, I would like to give your cocktail 4 grapes.
Oh, 4 grapes. I'm going to give it 4 grapes, too. It was pretty good. Looks
we forgot
pretty.
that at the beginning.
It's pretty. It's strong. 4 grapes for today's Galaxy cocktail. Now, this is a picture of all the men on the crew. Good times, good times. That's all the men on the crew.
Okay. Is the one there, is that Travis?
Yep, that's Travis. Right.
I can tell by the mustache.
Yes. Now, this is actually what the Nordic alien looks like that I talked about earlier. You can see blonde, the blue.
Go look at Instagram. Just go look at Instagram.
Yes, that's our Nordic alien.
He does look very Nordic.
Yes, he looks hot.
The
We're
blonde
here.
hair, like he
No.
looks Scandinavian.
One thing about the Nordic aliens, from when I was doing my research on this, it came up that when the Nordic aliens abduct you, they do sexual things, but in like the best way. So I'm like, oh my god.
Okay.
Am I about to be, do I want to be abducted by a
When I
Nordic
said I don't
alien?
want to be probed,
Maybe by the Nordics.
I don't even want my hypothetical boyfriend to probe me.
Girl.
Like, don't touch me unless I want to be touched.
Okay, that's T. Don't touch me unless I want to be touched. That's just a universal thing. I
Yes.
agree with that. Now, this is the asshole himself, Philip Glass.
He looks like an asshole.
Right, doesn't he look like a prick? Philip Glass looks like a whole prick. And then, this is a picture of Fire in the Sky, the movie about Travis's life that was obviously dramatized to meet Hollywood's
Standards.
standards. Yep, they definitely took some liberties in that movie. Now, don't remember if I have another one.
I don't think so. It's not going.
Okay, well, those are all the pictures for Travis. So, thoughts, opinions. What do you think about Travis's story?
I believe him.
I think I believe it too.
I mean, there's no reason why he would fake this.
Now, I will say, when you're researching Travis's story on the internet, you can very much tell by how an article is written whether or not they believe him.
Yeah.
Like, some of those articles really came at Travis's neck. You can really tell by how an article is written whether or not they believe in this or not.
That's being paranormal podcasters and researching a lot. That's just
Right.
anything.
All the conflicting information you have to wade through and shit. It's very that.
Very good episode, though, Paul.
Thank
Kudos.
you. Our first alien abduction episode, I think I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
it was
researching.
really good.
It was a good story. I wasn't expecting this story to be that good, but then as soon as I heard like the police were involved and it was like a murder suspect at first, I was like, oh shit, they're doing the thing.
Yes, they are.
No, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to add to Travis's story?
No, I just wanted to tell all the Corkies out there to please remember to like, subscribe, and rate wherever you do listen or watch us. If you did not enjoy this, just don't leave a review. Just don't watch us again. It's as easy as that. But please make
Or actually, leave a hate comment. Because at least someone will be home.
No, that will drive us down. Just don't say nothing. You can tweet at
Girl,
us.
at least someone will be commenting.
Tweet at us if you didn't like us. Please, if you have personal stories that you would like to share with us, we do eventually want to do listener episodes. Or if you have story suggestions, you can email us at cripsandcorks@gmail.com. Or if you are listening to us audibly, in the description you will see a text us button, and you can text us with story suggestions or just comments about the story. Also, remember to follow us on all of our social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter at Crips and Corks, and on Instagram and TikTok at Crips and Corks Pod. And remember, if you want to donate to Gaza Relief, you can do so through unicef.org. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me at my personal Instagram at Paulember, Paulember, or my personal TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. I'm looking forward to more alien abduction episodes, and as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And if you would like to follow me, you can find me at TheRealDeejPowers on both TikTok and Instagram.
All right.
We did it. So until next week, guys.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. And remember to keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye.
Oh, what if I got abducted by the Hamburglar?
Jesus.